I learned very early on that one of my gifts is hearing what people are not saying. So that's one of my superpowers. So yeah, that's what you said, but I know what you did say, or I know what you didn't address. Sometimes that's done strategically, and some people don't even know that they are not talking about the real deal. Because I'm thinking, I hear certain stuff, I'm like, that's just a symptom. And I don't say anything most of the time, but like I know that's a superpower. But I will quickly tell you, so I've been divorced twice.
Mhm.
And after my second divorce, I was like, okay, something wrong with me because I value being a wife. I value being a helpmate. Is something wrong with me? Am I choosing the wrong mate? Is my what's going on? And so I decided to go to divorce and separation care in my local church. And I went through that process and it changed my life. It changed my viewpoint. It allowed me to do a lot of inner work. And I decided to give back and I decided to serve on that ministry and start to lead. And so I was with that ministry for 10 years.
Welcome to Speakers and Stages, the series that goes beyond the mic and behind the scenes of powerful events. I'm your host, Layna Castle, event strategist and speaker experience expert. Yes, we're going to sit down and talk with event industry experts from backstage chaos to center stage clarity. This is where the strategy meets the spotlight. Let's get into it. Welcome to Speakers and Stages.
Welcome back, everyone, to Speakers and Stages, the place where we are going behind the mic and behind the curtain with thought leaders, healers, and visionaries. These are all the people who are shaping the way we speak, lead, and show up in the world. And today's guest is extremely special, not just because of her work, but this is actually my real friend. Like, I actually know her. I could sit on her couch and she can just give me all the advice I need. So I appreciate you being here. Oh, you guys don't know who she is. We're joined by Candice Elayne. She is a life and alignment activator, transformational coach, and the founder of Reframe with Candice. She is known for helping people tap into their inner superpower. And we're going to talk about that, yes, later. And realigning with their core values and shifting from the thought patterns that keep them stuck. So her wisdom is gentle, and I know this because I know personally, it's direct and deep healing. So her story is powerful and her ability to help people reframe those limiting beliefs is unmatched. And so, Candice, welcome to Speakers and Stages. Finally.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. It's absolutely an honor to share this opportunity with you. I love what you do. I love everything that you do to support the speakers, your business. So it is an honor to finally be able to talk to you.
Yeah. Now, listen, y'all, I could talk to her on FaceTime, just call her, get some quick advice. And Candice, we're just going to jump right into it, just like as if we're on FaceTime, because this whole superpower thing, I just want to understand it a little bit more. Before I get into other people's superpower, how did you discover your own?
So by trial and error, ultimately, I determined my superpower because I identify what I do very well. I identify ways that I can escape and different things that I can do when I'm under certain pressures, so to speak. So I just identified my superpower ultimately by trial and error. I didn't know. They just reveal itself when it's needed.
Oh, that's so good because sometimes I think people don't know what their superpowers are. Like when I think about the movies and they're just playing around, playing with the mask, and then they finally say, "Oh, this is my superpower." But is the superpower only used to do all the things, or is it a mask and it's not that we're really like,
It could be both. It all depends on the situation. And I would tell you, you're right. A lot of people don't know what their superpower is, especially if it comes very natural. Because when we operate in our genius, we do things naturally. And like again, it's not known to us as a superpower, but when you realize it's your genius zone or other people can't do it so effortlessly, then you realize, oh crap, this is my superpower. But yeah, most people don't know that they have superpowers because it comes so effortlessly. And when it comes to the mask, right? So there is a difference in wearing the cape and wearing the mask.
ooh,
Usually the mask is like when you're trying to hide, when you're trying to operate from a place of, I'm gonna just say it from maybe from an imposter style place, right? But the way I look at it, your cape is from a place of empowerment. Your cape is something where strength is drawn from. So there is a difference. Yeah, if you wear the mask versus the cape, that's a very high level overview of it.
because some people I feel like wear it at the same time. Oh, wow.
You
Ooh.
can.
Ah.
How
Yeah,
diabolical.
it's so if it's done, it's a nice balance, right? But if not, then again, the cape could get heavy because you don't have boundaries in place, and the mask can continue to either suffocate you or again continue to hide you. Or you, some people actually choose to be hidden. Some people actually choose to shrink. So yeah, they both can be worn.
Yeah, because I know that there's seasons where alignment like feels impossible. I know, especially for your clients, it just feels like everything is not 100% the way you want it to be, is not fully
Right.
balanced, is not aligned. And so how do you work with your clients with alignment? So you're trying to wear this cape, you're trying to wear this mask, there's not true alignment, you're trying to make it look like it is. But like how do you work with your clients to help focus that
Sure.
alignment? Yeah.
So when I work with clients within our first session, we do a core values exercise, right? And we talk about in detail the core values and why they are your core values. And so I use that as an anchor point for all of our sessions moving forward. When the clients say that they're struggling with certain areas, I ask, hey, do these fit your core values? If the answer is no, automatically you're out of alignment. You're frustrated, you're irritated because you're not honoring with integrity your core values. So automatically it's like a decision tree for me. Let's keep this simple. Is this present? Is this present? And if we have too many no's, again, this is how you know you're out of alignment because we've already discussed what your core values are. We've already discussed what's important to you. And it is proven, there's science to back up this, that if you're irritated, you're frustrated, 9 times out of 10, you're out of alignment because you're not honoring with integrity your core values. There's a lot of things out of our controls that happens, but you're internally, hey, I'm doing something I really don't want to do, or I'm either operating in this people pleasing, or I'm operating from performance, or I'm operating without boundaries. It's again, you're out of alignment because you're not honoring your core values. So I always remind my clients, hey, didn't you say let's just say family time? Family time is your core value. Help me understand. How
Yeah.
is it that you haven't spent time with your family the last 2 weeks?
Yeah. So then sometimes when they're out of alignment, it impacts other areas because they're
Absolutely.
out of alignment. Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. Because first of all, it's a daily practice, especially for someone who's not used to doing self regulation, doing some self reflection. It is very frustrating and it does bleed over because it's almost like you playing catch up in every area of your life, which is again something that we discuss in our first sessions. I do an exercise called the Wheel of Life. We discuss every area and which area in your life do you want to focus on. And yes, when you're out of alignment, because again, it's think of it like you're going down this path. You're out of control. Your driving's out of control. So you're running off the road in this area. You're running off the road in this area because again, you can't even stay in the main lane. So it automatically rolls over to other lanes in your life.
Have you seen certain areas where people are more misaligned? Like they're like, these are the particular top two, three areas that people are really struggling with?
Yeah, so typically the women that I work with are high achieving women and they're misaligned with themselves, first and foremost. They're misaligned with themselves and with their family and friends because they're typically achieving goals. They are very ambitious in various areas. So they neglect themselves and they neglect their loved ones or their family and entertainment and friends. A lot of
Yeah.
them don't have the social life, or if they do have a social life, it's not in the way that they would want it. It's from a performing standpoint versus a release or a nurturing standpoint.
Yeah. And if I back up, if I may, you were talking about the first thing that you cover is like core values. I know for me, I just had to, I think it was my therapist asking about what the values are. And she just sent me a list of like 100 like words. And I was just like overwhelmed looking, oh my gosh. But I started reading the words and certain things that bubbled up for me. I was like, oh, that means something to me.
Yep.
So when people come or your clients, these wonderful superpower women come to you,
Yeah.
do they know their values or do you have to sometimes you have to pull it out of them or you have to do a little probing first?
So it can be both. Some it is a reminder, some is a discovery. They don't know. So it's either reinforcing what they already know, or again, they're discovering. So, like you shared, I provide them with a list of words and I say, hey, take 5 minutes, circle 10 words that when you see these words, they mean something to you, you value them. Okay, we got 10 words. Okay, now get that 10 to 5. All right, let's get these 5 to 3. And what people end up finding out, what they think is a value, it sounds good. And that's what they've been saying for years. But the truth is, to their core, while it's important, it's not a core value. And see, that's what we ultimately decide. You can have values, and then there are core values. And so, yes, we do that exercise. Hey, yeah, it's like I think a list of 50 that I provide. Let's get them down to 10. Let's get them down to 5. And yes, they become very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
To have to get them down to 3 because they feel like they have to make sacrifices or it means it's not valuable. But no, that's not what that means. And so again, that's where the coaching for me begins in reframing their mindset. Hey, this is still a value. We can still honor that. All I'm saying is it's not a core value. It's that simple. But for some people, if it's not core, it's like they start to feel bad. It's like all of these things is hold up. And then again, another coaching opportunity. Why is that there? Why are you now feeling bad because that's not a core value? Who told you that that had to be a core value? Because again, we start to unravel again all of these limiting beliefs, all these things that people have told us for years. Again, they told us that. We don't really believe that. And so again, I'll start working and it just opens up the opportunities for such beautiful conversations.
Oh my gosh. Because you and I have conversations and I think about how important this is because if I don't know my core values or somebody like if it like relationships, like I know some of the women that you are connected to or as clients, they could be going through different life transitions. And so if you don't know what those core values are, or you're always looking to, oh, that's their core values, I'm just going to follow what they do. What is the concern with if I'm not really familiar or I don't take a stance with my own, so I just follow whoever is around. I'm just speaking about myself. I'm not speaking about anybody else. Nobody else does that. But is that concerning or what? How do you coach through something like that?
It is concerning at times, but I'll be honest, most things I don't look at as concerning. I look at teaching opportunities, coaching opportunities, because most of the time it's ultimately just a lack of awareness. That's really all it is. It is lack of awareness. So again, because when you say concerning, it makes you think, okay, something negative, something bad, wrong. No, it's just lack of awareness because again, clients may not know. And so yes, for clients in particular who are going through life transitions, at the end of the day, this is what I would say. Not addressing these things can leave someone stuck, could leave someone unfulfilled, could keep them on a path of potential depression. It's lack of clarity, like confusion. So that's what I would say. Not addressing these things and not reviewing what your core values are and not thinking about the why they are your core values. Yeah, those can have serious consequences if not addressed. Because for me, I want my clients to win. I want them to succeed. I want them to be self-aware. I want them to be able to do a self-check and be like, this don't feel right. Why doesn't this feel right? Because again, lack of that is just, it breeds a lot of, it has a negative impact. That's what I would say downstream to not only themselves, but everybody else in their lives.
Now, as you're walking on this journey with the different clients that you're, because these women, I know the exterior, just a powerful woman doing all the things, CEO life, yay. Now, that's how I view it. And like, how do you, like, when did you say, I am called to do this? Like, how did you know, okay, this is who I need to be working with because I know that,
So I will tell you, I learned very early on that one of my gifts is hearing what people are not saying. So that's one of my superpowers. So yeah, that's what you said, but I know what you did say, or I know what you didn't address. Sometimes that's done strategically, and some people don't even know that they are not talking about the real deal. Because I'm thinking, I hear certain stuff, I'm like, that's just a symptom. And I don't say anything most of the time, but like I know that's a superpower. But I will quickly tell you, so I've been divorced twice. And after my second divorce, I was like, okay, something wrong with me because I value being a wife. I value being a helpmate. Is something wrong with me? Am I choosing the wrong mate? What's going on? And so I decided to go to divorce and separation care in my local church. And I went through that process and it changed my life. It changed my viewpoint. It allowed me to do a lot of inner work. And I decided to give back and I decided to serve on that ministry and start to lead. And so I was with that ministry for 10 years.
Wow, I didn't even know that.
Yes. And so with being in that ministry, what I learned, as well as for myself, when people go through divorce or separation, there's an identity crisis because for so long they wore this hat as I'm a wife, I'm a mother, I'm this, and it's who am I now that I'm not a wife? And again, I've been through that identity crisis too. And so working with the divorced individuals, I knew that was present. But what I also learned is identity crisis is not just limited to people going through divorce. It's for people going through any major life transition, whether it be an empty nester, you changing careers, you were the caretaker and you lost, like the person has now transitioned. It's okay, what do I do now? For the last 3 or 4 years, this is who I was. And so I decided to expand my business to support individuals going through major life transitions, not just divorce. And so I realized the tools that I learned to help the individuals going through divorce can also be utilized with individuals who are going through any major life transition. So that's how I end up getting here. And I have a personal passion for the high achieving woman, the ambitious woman, because I'm also her. And yeah, and I know the struggles that they face. It is, and I have to coach myself all the time. And then to be completely transparent, I also want to take a step back from divorce because I'm partial empath and that could be very draining. It's very tough.
Yeah.
And also because I'm a forward thinker, forward mover, sometimes because divorce is so delicate, people need time to heal as well as grieve all at the same time. Because the issue with divorce is usually when someone passed, you grieve them, you'll never see them again. But it is a whole nother set of grief with someone that you still have to see, that you still have to deal with. And that takes a lot more time. And I'm gonna leave that piece to therapists and counselors. And so for me, I like the individuals again who are already shaking and moving. They just need a direction, they just need a little guiding light. So again, that's how I ultimately transition to the ambitious woman and the life coach aspect.
Yes, and I know you got your certification and everything. She's
Yeah,
legit, everybody. There's not somebody
absolutely.
that's just saying coach, okay? So when you say reframe, what I love, because sometimes when you and I talk personally, and I'm just thinking I have to do all of these things, and I'm just overwhelmed, just thinking about all the things I need to like do, and you're like, no, it's just incremental. And then it's being consistent in the incremental things, the small things that you're doing, or you don't have to do all that. You can do this. And so when you say reframe, tell everyone what you mean by someone being able to realign or reframe. What that
Absolutely.
mean?
The reframing is basically like just a little tweaking, just to add a different perspective, show a different perspective, show a different viewpoint, add a little layer, just pivot a little bit because it could be overwhelming. It could be disheartening to all of a sudden do this full life transformation. And if people don't see certain results, they get discouraged, they stop. And so I like to celebrate the little wins and focus on, hey, let's tweak things a little bit. For one, to slowly start changing a mindset, as well as start doing little bitty things that ultimately turns into habit. And we can continue to build on different habits to have different outcomes. And I just think it's more important to focus on the reframing because with most things too, you have to start reframing your mindset to be able to have a different result. Because if your mindset doesn't change about certain things, it really doesn't matter your actions, it really doesn't matter your habits. It don't even really matter about your money.
Yeah.
The mindset and reframing how you look at things is the core of who we are and who we need to become.
Why do so many people then struggle with alignment if we crave it so deeply?
Because one, they don't know that's an alignment that they have an issue with. I'll give a good example. I had a client. Are you familiar with the DISC assessment? I had a client and she did the DISC assessment. She was a very high I, right? High I, like
What is
extremely
a high?
high.
Explain what a high I is.
So for those that don't know, the high I, she was a people person. She was considered like an influencer. She's the life of the party. Like she's the one that gathers the people. They give her like a flamingo. She comes in and she owns the room. She wows, like that's who she is. And anyway, she had just went through a divorce. And I don't know where her husband was, but one of the things that we talked about was she loved to travel and she was okay with traveling by herself. She wanted to see the world. Her husband, not so much. And so her and her husband used to get into it because he thought that she didn't want to be married. He thought that she was just living this double life or just doing all these things. And she'd be like, no, I love you. I want to go with you. You don't want to go, but I'm still go anyway. So they used to have these conflicts all the time. Anyway, I'm saying that to say If we could have taken that test prior to, I could have given her the language and she could have articulated, hey, babe, this is just my personality. Me going to travel, me doing things is not a reflection of me not loving you. This is just who I am. And he could have maybe had a better understanding that, again, she's just the life of the party and he wasn't. And so here, this whole time, there was some insecurity and some issues that, again, she just didn't have the language to be able to articulate. What we end up getting away from that was, okay, now that she has the language and if she's dating moving forward, she can tell them, hey, I like to do things and I'm comfortable doing things by myself. And now they get to choose if they want to be with them or not. But now she has the language because she knows who she is. She didn't have the words to put with it. That's important because a lot of people don't know. So when you say, hey, they crave something they can't put words to. So that's why it takes time to just slow down and try to figure it out. So I'll give you another example with her. She would, if she was to get a job, because we talked about where she wanted to be financially, I promise you, if someone would have offered her a job making $500,000 a year, but she'd have to do data work, she had to analyze spreadsheet, she would be miserable. So when we talk, she would be like, yeah, I want a $500,000 job, but you got to have the right $500,000 job because you're going to be miserable. Her personality is not somebody you can put in a closet, close the door and put spreadsheets. That's not where she thrives. And so again, when people crave things, they can't put words to it sometimes. And it's no fault of their own. They just don't know. And that's one of the beauties I love about the assessments that I provide, because again, it allows the light bulb to come on for some people again, be like, oh, that makes sense. And again, they can put words, whether it be to, hey, when they go into interviews, when they're in relationships with family or friends. And again, it go back to their core value. This is what's valuable to me. This is what makes me happy. These are the areas I thrive in.
Yeah. Oh my
And
God.
so again, so like this high I person, you put her on the IT team analyzing all this stuff, she's going to be miserable, but at least she can be say, hey, you know what? This role isn't for me. And guess what? We can now focus on, let's look for roles that are for you. Let's do like event planning, party promotions, whatever, something that allows her to be in an environment where it fuels her versus draining her. So.
But, and just for you all to know the tea, there's a lot of times I will reach out to Candice. I know my husband is probably, I'm gonna make sure he's blocked from seeing the episode. But I go to Candice, what am I supposed to say now? And it's not like giving me words of this is what I wouldn't say. It's just sometimes I'm not even thinking outside of the box. I'm just, how you're listening to what they're not saying. I'm just listening to exactly what you are saying and the tone. And I could be completely off and completely wrong. And I'm like, when I think about how you reach out and you're able to help me through some of these small, what is this? What does this text message mean? Girl, look at this. What is this? And so do you allow clients as you're working through with them, like dealing with life day to day? Or is it like, okay, this is the focal point you wanted to work on and we're going to go through that? Do other things start popping up? You're like, oh, and then there's this and there's other things.
So when clients book me, I do allow the flexibility for us to just life. That's the part of being a life coach because life happens. Of course, in booking with me, there is a curriculum. There's things that I have laid out, but I allow the flexibility because let's say this month we could be talking about, I don't know, this month we could be talking about identity, but guess what? You over here struggling taking care of your mother because she's frustrated. Guess what? Let's talk about that. Let's talk about the frustration. Let's talk about why are you not asking your siblings to help you? Let's talk about the resentment that you're starting to feel. So I'm open to discuss life with clients. And if you don't mind, I want to go back to something that you said and something that if anyone's listening that is married, especially newlyweds, that I don't think enough people talk about, that I learned very early on. In dealing with your spouse, sometimes the frustration ain't about alignment, but you have to realize that when you're in conflict with most people, it's not honestly limited to the spouse. You're dealing with the adult version of them acting out the child version of them. It is hard. Trust me, I know, and I'm guilty. But when you are dealing with the 8-year-old, 10-year-old, 12-year-old, but they're showing up as this grown person. And so you are responding sometimes, not you person, but people are responding to what this adult version is saying, but you have to learn to tap into that younger version, because that's who's actually triggered.
I have this happen to the younger version of myself or the other person.
The other person. The other
Oh,
person.
I gotta talk to the little boy. Hey.
Yes. And no, it can't be that way. So no, it can't be that way.
I won't say it out loud. That's what I have to, that's my inner voice.
Yeah, you'd be like, oh, okay, I know what I'm dealing with. And sometimes, even if you can't address it, you may just be like, you know what, let's pause this conversation.
Okay.
Because that's important. That's important to know. And I can give an example about that. Look, when it comes to stuff like that's a whole nother conversation.
But when you say, let's pause for a second, some people don't know how to pause. Like they just, no, I need to talk this out right now. Like, how do you, like when people are they're acting out their younger version and you're like, oh, I see it. Let's pause for a second. If they don't want to pause and they still want to continue on the little version of themselves, do you just look at them?
You can. Because my question to you, let's not use you. Let's say
you're not gonna say this.
No, we're not playing games. So let's say Nicole. We're not doing this. Let's say Nicole. Like Nicole is frustrated. She's so frustrated she can't communicate properly. Let's say her husband is John, Nicole and John. And Nicole says, John, we need to pause. And John wants to keep going. Nicole doesn't have to stay there. And if Nicole was my client, I'd be like, so Nicole, yeah, you're sharing with me that he wants to keep going. My question is, what does that have to do with you? Because you've made your request. Now they're not honoring. The question now becomes, Nicole, why were you okay with them not honoring your request? Why did you stay in that room? You see what I'm saying? Like the conversation switches now because Nicole, you're the one that says, hey, pause. So what if they keep going? What does it have to do with you? Because at the end of the day, we're responsible for our actions. We are honestly responsible for any disrespect. We are responsible for lack of boundaries. That is a hard pill to swallow, but that's the reality of the situation. We cannot focus a whole lot on the other person, especially if we're saying and doing things for our protection, sometimes for their protection. Because look, like, hey, man, I'm about to cuss you out. I need a minute. And I experienced this with my daughter too. So it's not always just the romantic relationships. That could be at work, it could be parent-child. But at the end of the day, if the person has made a request and it doesn't stay about either that request or their reaction, my question will be, Nicole, why did you stay? Oh, so what that they kept talking? What does that have to do with you?
Speaking of swallowing, we're going to take a detour and then come back. Yeah, we're going to take a short detour and then we're coming back over here. There's a couple of questions that I still have for you. Sex, let's talk about it. I'm jumping right into the deep end. Now, I
have no problem with that.
Yeah, I know. Audience, just so you're aware, I did never, like my friends would talk about certain things and I'm like, this is uncomfortable. Why? Like that, this is not something we should talk about. And it was the very people I needed to be talking about because there were so many questions that I had and there were so many things that I would like to understand and know more deeply, because a lot of times when you're just in your own world and you take your own advice and that's all you know versus being able to be open and vulnerable with other people. And I never had that in my life. And so when we talk about the intimacy side, because that also connects with alignment, that also connects with confidence, that's also all these other pieces that you've been talking about, and it bleeds right into the bedroom. So talk to us about, oh Lord.
It's so funny that you say that because I am developing a branch of my business where it's going to be Cape After Dark. Because you're right, people struggle with intimacy. You best believe that if you have communication issues outside the bedroom, there's going to be communication issues inside the bedroom as well. And that's important because so many people crave intimacy and not getting it. And I'm not just talking about sex or actual penetration. And it's important to be able to have open, honest dialogue with your significant other. This is the person you're giving your body to. This is someone you're sharing things with. And that's important to have conversations. And if you're not there yet, again, that's an opportunity for us to have a conversation. Why aren't we there? What has happened that you can't talk? Because the truth is, especially for married people, I wish I could scream to the mountaintop for married people about this. It's important to talk about needs and desires. If nothing else, the question should be, what happens when they're not met? what happens if I no longer want to fulfill them? Because the truth is, they're not going anywhere. If I have a desire, need, or kink, my husband is not taking care of that. We got to talk about what this looks like, because I don't think it's fair to always be like, just get over it or smother it, because it's unrealistic. And like you said, it goes back to not being aligned, as well as it's also out of alignment to be asked to do something you're not comfortable with. And so, again, I absolutely support and empower couples, especially married couples, to be as open and honest as possible when it comes to things like that, because it's important. And then it's proven too that when you have a very healthy sex life within a marriage, it allows for a lot more productivity and vulnerability in other areas of the marriage as well.
Now, when you talk about having the conversation about needs and desires, this goes back to, in my mind, about someone who may not know their core values. So if a client is coming to you to talk about this particular area that they're struggling with and they need to get back into alignment, so that intimacy, even if it's not penetration or anything like that, what does that conversation look like in regards to digging deep to understand one's needs and desires if they're not familiar with it?
So it depends on the client, whether it be, we may have to explore the conversations around, have you ever explored yourself? Has there ever been a time where you were sexually satisfied and you're just not now? And then if that's the case, right, it's like this decision tree. So if there was a point in your life where you were completely happy sexually, what was present there that's not here? Or it could be the person you with, they just don't make you feel wanted or desired. And then we have to explore that. So it's not a one fits all. And that's the beauty to me about life coaching. Everybody's life looks different, and everybody have different life experiences, and everybody have different triggers to cause them to be where they are. I'm just of the belief you don't have to stay there. So, okay, let's identify them, and then let's look at some different options. But yeah, if someone is struggling, my first starting point is to ask, has there ever been a time where you were satisfied, where you did know what this looks like? And then if not, let's then talk about, what's your comfort level? How far are you willing to go? What has been this whole ideal of sex pleasure, where does that come from for you? What have you been watching? What have you been told? We have to discover all of those things to see, again, if those things are in line, if you really believe it, or if, again, it's just something you just caught growing up and you just kept it going, and you realize, you know what? My cousin told me that, and that didn't even make sense. You can talk to your cousin who's 14 years old, and let's say they were 18. I promise you that what you learn from the 18-year-old should not be present at a 40-year-old woman. But for some people, they just hold on because, like you said, a lot of people don't feel comfortable talking about it. That's very intimate. That's very personal. And my thing is, okay, if you don't talk to your friends, that's cool. Talk to somebody.
Yeah.
Because we all deserve pleasure. We all deserve to be satisfied. And if we can't get it from our significant other, you can get it from yourself.
I love, because I think you brought up a couple of key pieces. One is, if it's not coming to you or if it's your friends, talk to someone. And I think sometimes talking to someone makes the conversation that much easier when you're talking with the actual person. Once you came up with your script of, okay, this is what I desire, this is what I want. And honestly, the other person wants to know. Like they really do, because who wants, does this feel all right? You all right? Every single time? Let me know what it is. And I think articulating it, and I think some of the things that you're saying is people voicing it. And some people never have voiced values. They have never voiced, or maybe haven't had the space. A lot of these women who are overachievers and doing all the things and being superwoman, and then still, what is my fulfillment in life? What if I don't do anything else? Legacy. So that's very interesting that you say that, because I think it all starts with the words and somebody being able to articulate to themselves or to another person likes, desires, values, and then building out this whole alignment piece. But I think that's the beauty of the work you get to do, is because some people have been living their life thinking this is the direction, and hurt and bruised and still just, and I think us women are like we get a badge of honor to just keep moving, keep mothering, keep working, and my question to you is, how do we, especially as women who are busy as hell, and you and I have talked about this, being able to tap into something, even if I don't feel it or if I'm not there, how do I tap into something or a moment or a feeling, even if I'm not fully there yet, because sometimes I gotta just snap into something, or I gotta be in, not to say in the mood, but how do you get there?
So I would, depending on the situation, my first suggestion to, if you were a client of mine, would say, let's start small. Because again, let's say if you have meetings, you have all these things, and one spouse may need things, and it'd be like, oh my gosh, it's just, most women never say this, but for men that's listening, most women think, oh my gosh, it's something else I have to do. And we don't want to come off like it's another chore, but in our head, in our Rolodex of things we have to do, that is what it is to us mentally. And so what I would say is, whatever you're thinking about 9 times out of 10 is too big. And I would tell a client, hey, do a quick slow down, take a quick inventory. What's present that you've done before, or what is something you can give them to tie them over to until you do have the capacity to give a little bit more. Because most of the time people just they want to be heard, they want some attention, like all of us. And first, yeah, I would tell the busy woman is, whatever you have going on right now is temporary, and you need to always do things to invest in your relationship that's 9 times out of 10 long term. And do little bitty things. Think about what you do have the capacity. Do you at least have time to send a text? Hey, sweetheart, I'm thinking about you. I know I haven't talked to you. I have a couple of meetings, and I promise you're gonna be the first person I talk to when I get done.
I'm telling you,
So,
ladies, if you think that she should just go ahead and write a book of, this is the section for the text messages, this is the section for alignment, this is the section for the bedroom, this is the section for values. You could just put all of these things and be like, oh my God.
It's like doing the little bitty things. And if you can't, again, communicate, at least communicate again why you can't. And you can do it in a loving way. Because the reality is, whomever is not a priority. And you're not saying that. What you're saying is, hey, I'm thinking of you. I'm really busy. I have these things, but as soon as I'm done with those things, I got you. You are top of mind. And so it's like little bitty things like that. Or again, if someone is thinking or even feeling guilty, let's say if it's not a romantic relationship, let's say it is a parent-child, man, my kid has a soccer game. I got all these things. Communicate that to the child as well. Hey, babe, I really wanted to be there, but I can't. But hey, I'll make it up to you. At least give them something to look forward to, instead of us being so busy when we don't communicate and we feel guilty. And again, communication, it doesn't solve everything, but at least put band-aids, and it at least allows for things to be a little bit more pleasant. That's what I would say.
Okay.
Now, the key to that is, that's not a blanket statement, right? And what I mean by that is, that can't be a pattern that continues to happen, meaning like somebody can't just be okay with, let's say, you not showing up in whatever capacity for years. At some point, there will have to be a time where we evaluate your schedule. I would ask, do you really need to do all these things? Can you do some things at different time? You see what I'm saying? So I don't mind giving quick fixes, but that's all that is a band-aid. We have to be able to go back to the core issue. And if at the end of the day, whether it be a child, significant other, parent, if they need you, let's talk about, do you have the capacity for their need? Are you really the one to solve that need? Because people sometimes put their unmet needs on us, and it's not even for us to carry. That's not fair to us. You see what I'm saying? So it opens up the door to have a lot of communication about various things. But to go back to your question, if a woman that's doing all the things and busy, take the time, slow down, address, if you can't address their need of what is it, and then let it be know, hey, I'm busy, but you are going to be first thing that I take care of as soon as I get done with these things.
Now, thank you everyone for hearing the TED Talk here at the Cape After Dark, which is coming to you soon. And if you don't see it, you need to go ahead and ping her and ask her, where's the Cape After Dark? Because right now it is sunny and all of that, and the sun is shining. So once it gets dark, I'm ready for it, because I think that there's so much conversation that needs to be had. And I'll give like a teaser about you and I talking about the feels, like different textures and things like that, so that people who have certain desires, or like, what is in my reach? Like when you said, let's look at the inventory, like for me, it's like, what's in my reach that I know that is a texture kind of deal where I can get excited, or I know that I'm extra comfortable. And we'll talk about that. Because we need to just do a session really literally in the dark, like after dark, and have that conversation. But as I'm veering back on back to the road, I think about professional speakers and I think about their confidence. And I've seen it where the same speaker who had a really good, confident day on stage versus a day that you can tell that they were not having a good day and it just fell flat and them not being in alignment. But it's not my place to be asking all these questions and stuff.
Of course.
But how can speakers, as they're preparing for, and you just emceed or moderated an event recently. So how do you get your mindset right? Because I think sometimes you just got all this stuff and you have to be able to push it all down or back in order to be present for what you have to execute in. How does a speaker, and you're familiar with it, how does that confidence need to come up or to be in alignment, like when it's necessary?
So that's funny that you should ask that, because this is also part of my business that I get so excited, but you have to be a special breed to feel me and understand. And so again, you could have this conversation with someone else, they may tell you something different. But for those who are in my world, if a speaker is not feeling confident, I would say tap into your alter ego. Ooh. What is it that needs to be present for you to be confident? If you think about Beyonce, she taps into Sasha Fierce, because whoever your alter ego is, they don't have the burdens of everyday life. They don't have these things. So you can tap in that, because think about it. We're talking about, what are we talking about? An hour, 2 hour, maybe 3 hour time frame. So for 3 hours, there should be some place in your life, some place in your brain where you can go to and draw from that. Because again, when you show up on this stage, how do you feel? Like, you should be able to draw into that, because again, when I would like to think most speakers too, when they're on their stage, it really shouldn't really be about them. It should be about who they're serving, who they're trying to invite to join their program, buy their services. It's about showing up for whoever you're speaking to, right? And so that's the beauty too of tap into the art ego. It's not about you. It's allowed you not to be, I'm gonna say it, not to be self-centered, because you're not being your normal self. So I would advise, if possible, for that speaker to tap into that alter ego, the one that's confident, the one that you feel like a badass, like you feel like you can kill it. Yes. And sometimes it's challenging, but see, that's the beauty of maintaining the alter ego or feeding them, because again, it could be there when you need to tap into it. And I get that it's hard, especially if you got a phone call or something's not working. Like, so many things can be deflating. But I would advise the speaker to, one, tap into their alter ego, and then to remember, this moment that you're speaking, it's not about you. It's not about the tech issues. It's not about the PowerPoint. It is about you reminding the people that you're speaking to what it is they need to hear, like whatever the topic is. And that's hard, but because if we focus on how we're feeling, how this impacted us, yes, it's difficult. But if you focus on, hey, you are here for them. They came to see you. So I need you to show up for them.
That's so good. And it's such a good reminder, because I think sometimes when we get in our heads about ourselves, we lose sight of that. Yeah. And it comes across in our words and our body language and everything. So when I think about what you're saying, I just think about that red telephone behind you. Talk to us about this red phone behind you. Yeah. Because yes, let's talk about the red phone.
So this red phone, it's very nostalgia, right? If you, for those of a certain age group, right, they are aware of this phone. This phone reminds me of Commissioner Gordon and Batman. There was a direct link to talk to them, to talk to each other. And they are the only two that had access to this. And so when I was building out my coaching program, when I started thinking about the group program in particular, I wanted to create a power shift collective. And I wanted my clients to have direct access to me. I want them to tap into their superpower. I want them to tap into their alter ego. And I want them to have direct access to me. Because when my clients work with me, they have access to Telegram. And they can voice memo me, text me, because again, life happens. Clients don't always have the luxury to wait every other week to connect. Sometimes, hey, I'm going through something now. Can you help me? Of course, I got you. So this red phone is a reminder you have direct access to me. I got you. These are the conversations we have are discreet. The conversations we have is private. This is just you and I. And so this is a reminder to myself and to my client that, hey, you have direct access to me, just like Commissioner Gordon and Batman. Nobody else knew what was going on. And when that phone rung, he knew exactly who it was.
That's right.
And so that's what I want to give to my clients. I want to give my clients direct access. I want to give them the security to know that then when they talk to me, it's a safe place. There's discretion. Hey, it could be late night, whatever. I got you.
Oh my goodness, that's such a good, and some of y'all know, and some of y'all have invested in coaches that don't call me after 5 or
Right.
don't text me or talk to my person, and that person will talk to the other person that gets to me. And then by the time they circle back around to you, you've already solved your problem. And when I think about Batman and Gordon, because I am a huge DC comic fan, but Marvel is awesome. But only Batman do I get a chance to look at their relationship and how it grew. So before the direct line, he would just show up. He would just pop up. This is what's going to happen. This is what's going on. And then it became that light that used to beam into the sky. That came after the fact to notify him. And there's other ways, like there's different forms of communication to let you know, okay, the cape needs to come on. We need to solve this problem. We need to go get these bad guys. We need to go ahead and execute. So this is good. Candice, thank you for stopping by. So how can people tap in and connecting with you?
So first thing for those, especially that are interested in tapping into their superpower, their alter ego, I would advise that they take my quiz. I created a quiz and they can go to www.powercapequiz.com and take a short quiz so they can identify which superhero they are most aligned with. Then they could book a call with me and we'll talk about, hey, based on your results, this is who you seem to be aligned with. What part of that resonates with you? Let's talk about that. And then, of course, if they want to actually book me, it could be for a 1 hour session. We can do 3 months, or like whatever their need is. We can have discovery calls to determine what that looks like. They can reach me at reframewithcandice.com. And I'm Reframe with Candice on all social media platforms. And they can DM me, go to the website to book a call.
That is so exciting. And guys, ladies, specifically, I have the link is there. You're able to go and access the quiz. Are you able to let us know who the superheroes are that could pop up, or you just let them, like, they're going to see it at the end? Like, you're
so actually, when you go to www.powercapequiz.com, there the options are there. So we have some women who can relate to She-Hulk. We have women who can relate to Storm. We have women who can relate to Black Widow, to Superwoman, to Wonder Woman, right? And so so they'll see them on there, but you have to take the quiz to figure out, because again, a lot of us that's just like on autopilot, we operate in one way, but so our core is really something else. And so I love the opportunity to dive deep into that and allow, again, for a pivot for women, because I'm a big believer, you don't have to change, just add to. Because so many coaches and therapists, they be like, take the cape off. Some areas you do need to, but I'm of the belief, let's use this cape as empowerment. Let's use this cape as a strength. Let's soar to higher heights. Let's rock this cape. And then, take it off when need be, because we can't operate like that all the time. But owning your superpower, walking in it, and owning your alter ego or egos is an amazing thing.
Oh, you are just such a breath of fresh air, showing up in your truth, your wisdom, your softness. And for everyone watching, make sure to like the episode, subscribe, turn on the notifications, because the next time Candice and I are going to be on here is going to be the Cape After Dark. So I'm going to be putting that on the calendar. Maybe we do it before Valentine's Day or something like that, giving some people some ideas and how to step into that. I think that I've been talking to her for a minute. I just know, and please drop it in the comments. If that's something that you're interested in, let her know, because
Absolutely.
I know that it's necessary where we're walking in our capes all the time. And sometimes you need to just go ahead and take out the velvet cape.
Yes.
And it's a whole different experience. So
absolutely.
Can't wait.
Yes,
So,
and can I do one
yes.
more shameless plug? The
Yeah.
other opportunity that we can explore looking at, I'm also rolling out something else.
Ooh.
And it's not year round, but I'm also going to invite us to have an opportunity to have a conversation where we whine about our goals. So we're going to have glasses of
Mm.
wine and talk about our goals, and then also talk about why we haven't addressed our goals and what needs to be present. So I'm also doing that. I want to whine about our goals.
Oh, whine about our goals? Is that what you?
Whine. Yes. Yes.
I love it. Oh my goodness. You need to just create a waitlist link so I can make sure that people like who just are like, whenever it is, I just want to be the first to know. So whenever that happens. But ladies, Candice Elayne, I'm so super proud of you. This is my friend. Yeah, y'all can borrow her and you can tap in. I'm just letting y'all know before you even get the plug that, you're welcome because she is amazing and I lean on her guidance. This is not a shameless plug. This is the plug that you need to make sure to reach out, at least take the quiz, find out what superhero you are, and to have a follow-up conversation to see what do I need to be aligned with? Let's talk a little bit more deeper about my core values and how do I use the mask versus the cape? And then when can I take one off versus the other? Candice, thank you so much for joining us today. If there's any other things that you might want to say, like a word of wisdom or anything
So
from
I want to first say thank you again, Layna, for having me. I really appreciate it. And then just the last thing is to remind people that they are enough, they've
Mm,
done enough, and they have enough. So many of us think I'm not enough or I'm not doing enough. No, that's not true. That's not true at all.
wow.
That's how I want to end it.
Okay, y'all, you heard it here. Until next time, keep choosing truth, keep growing, choosing growth, and keep walking in God's given superpower. Okay, you guys have a great one, and we'll see you guys next week. Oh, Candice, I'm so happy.
Thanks, Layna.